Hi everybody, Kim Pecora at the Atrium. I'm here to talk about the Good Shepherd today. We'll start as we always do by lighting our candle. And we'll say, Jesus is the light of the world. And then if you notice, I have the prayer table, I have the Good Shepherd, and I have the sheepfold, 10 sheep, and the Good Shepherd. So what I was going to do first is read you a little summary that I find quite beautiful. So we have 3 levels in Atrium. We've spoken about them in the very beginning. And for the younger child, the face of God, which is most gratifying, is that of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. So that's what we show them when they come in. As they come in through the door, we will have the Good Shepherd waiting, and we will say to each child their name and say, the Good Shepherd invites you, John, you, Mary, you, Michael, you, Sarah, into the atrium. So he calls everybody by name. And the parable of the Good Shepherd is found in John 10, and it contains a message of the totality and universality of God's love. The very completeness of this love finds a response in all human situations. Furthermore, the meaning of the parable continues to unfold as one grows. So when they learn it as a little 3-year-old, it stays with them and is pertinent for the rest of their life. The shepherd calls the sheep by name. This establishes a fundamental relationship between God and the individual. It is a relationship with a person who responds to the deepest and most unexpressed needs of the individual. So it actually makes God seem more personable, an individual that they can talk to and relate to. The shepherd takes care of the sheep, giving them everything they need. He loves, protects, and heals. The shepherd delights in being with his sheep. When he finds the sheep that was lost, he joyfully takes it on his shoulders, and later, upon bringing it home, calls upon his friends and neighbors to celebrate with him the sheep's return. And the lost sheep will be doing after the Good Shepherd, and that is from Luke 15, verses 3 to 6. The flock of the Good Shepherd is the community of faith, the church into which we are welcomed at baptism. At a later age, in the moral sensitive period, beginning around 7 years old, they start knowing a little bit more of morals and right from wrong. So they change the Good Shepherd, and it goes, the child finds in the parable of the found sheep a model of God's love which pardons and forgives. At a still later age, the child focuses on the shepherd as the one who goes ahead and shows the way. He who lays down his life for the sheep models complete self-giving. Thus, for adolescents, the figure of the shepherd is newly important in guiding their personal choices as well as their willing participation in the life of the community. The one flock which the shepherd says will be formed someday represents the final completeness of all created beings in God. So, this will be the Good Shepherd. We have the sheepfold and a gate, and you will have a sheepfold in your box, and you will have 10 sheep. We have 5 with their heads up and 5 with their heads down, and we have the Good Shepherd holding a sheep. So when you're doing the presentation, you either talk or have movement. You don't move the sheep as you're talking. So the first thing that you would do is bring all the sheep . And the Good Shepherd stays out, and he stays facing the children. And then the Good Shepherd starts walking. And then the shepherd, as he's walking, so the sheep will follow him. And one of the reasons that the sheep follow him, or they follow the shepherd, is that they know his voice. So if a stranger comes along and the stranger is talking, they won't follow him because it is not the voice that they recognize. And Jesus will call each sheep by their name. And so he knows, they know his voice, and he knows them by name. And Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. My sheep know me, and I know their name. And then in your box will also be the story of the good shepherd, which is John 10, 3b to 5, 10b to 11, and 14 to 16. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has driven out all of his own, he walks ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will not follow a stranger. They will run away from him because they do not recognize the voice of strangers. I came so that they might have life and have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. A good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, I will lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. These also I must lead, and they will hear my voice, and there will be one flock, one shepherd. And then you'll ask the children, what did they hear? And then they'll give you some answers like, I heard about sheep, I heard that Jesus knows their name, or that they follow him, that he's the good shepherd. And so you would talk about the answers that they come up with, have a little discussion about it, and then remember, no wrong answers. So whatever they say is how they're actually interpreting the event at the moment, and with the Holy Spirit working in them. So that's why there's no wrong answers, because we don't know what the Holy Spirit is actually saying inside of them. And then I have in the box also, there will be some tracing cards. So there'll be one of the Good Shepherd, and one of the sheep with their head down, and one of the sheep with their head up. And so they can trace that. Again, if you have at your prayer table a little bits of paper and some pencils or crayons, that can be their prayer. They can actually jot some things down. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at Our Lady of Joy. And thank you for joining me for the presentation.